everybody. The reason we're all squished onto this sofa tighter than my sick fade is because JustWatch have asked us to talk about our favourite films of 2021, and we are going to be doing just that. But we all do, all of us individually, yes, all of us do have our own pages over on the site where you can see our top 10s of the year, because we do like a top 10 traditionally here at What Culture. We're just going to talk about a sample, give you a flavour, the spice of our lives over the last 12 months on this video, but you can find out more about it here.
Shamefully, I don't know, I struggled to think of my favourite ones because I've seen a lot of films this year, but quite a few haven't been so memorable. But I did manage to get together a confident 10 of films that I really enjoyed, and I think, not surprisingly, seeing as I'm on the horror channel a lot, a couple of those fell into the horror genre. I'm going to cheat a bit, I'll put them as one, but really it was a trilogy. I don't know if you heard of it. It was the Fear Street trilogy.
Oh, absolutely not, no.
Well, the Fear Street trilogy was a horror trilogy that came onto Netflix, and it basically followed a story, but told through 3 separate timelines, 3 eras, with the different sets of really interesting characters, an interesting story, lots of twists and turns unfolded, and generally I thought it was quite interesting. It was like a fresher format than what I've been watching recently, and I would definitely recommend it for horror fans that are looking for new things. The other horror one that I have to talk about, because it was possibly one of the most surprising films I saw this year, was Malignant. It was James Wan's new one, and good God, that film. The best way to go into it is to go in completely blind, not knowing anything about it. I didn't know a thing. I think I had maybe watched the earliest trailer, and then I saw people who'd seen it on pre-release talking on Twitter about it, saying how crazy it was. I was like, right, I don't want to know anything else. I want to go in and be blown away, and blown away I was. I wasn't sure how to feel for quite a while throughout that film, but over a couple of days, perhaps weeks afterwards, I stewed on it and I thought, damn, that was an experience.
I know you're saying go in, I need more. What's it about? This is stupid.
Okay, so the film basically, on the most basic level, follows this woman who finds herself suddenly able to view murders live as they happen, as if through some sort of psychic link. She's just going about her business, maybe she's like doing some laundry, and then suddenly she's like transported elsewhere where she watches a murder happen, but it's always just the one murderer. And she knows that at some point in her childhood she had some connection to whoever this is that's doing the murdering. But we don't know what that connection is. She doesn't know how they've come back into her life. She barely remembers them being there in the first place. And her family won't tell her. It's all very mysterious. So you've got a lot to unpack there. And the twist in sort of having all of that revealed, there is literally nothing you could do to predict it. Okay. There is nothing that I could say that would even slightly hint towards it, because it is stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
That sounds absolutely horrible. Have you got anything a bit lighter?
Yes! My top favourite film of the year. It came out this year here, but like the Americans do with a lot of films, they got it before us, but that's beside the point. It was Minari. And I was really excited to watch it because from the trailers it looked like a really wholesome, like very moving film about like family and fresh starts, and also a story that maybe doesn't get as much mainstream attention as it should. Stuff about moving and being an immigrant in America and building your family and a new life and everything, and just that film moved me emotionally like no other film has in many years. I was unprepared. It was visually stunning. All the performances were just incredible. And I've seen it maybe 3 times now. And it never gets old. I was very excited to show people the film, and I would recommend it to anyone.
Well, I think Black Widow can feel very hard done by there. Thank you very much for that.
2021 for the UK meant that we finally got to see Sound of Metal, which instantly became my favourite movie. It's by starring Riz Ahmed as a heavy metal drummer who's just been playing his arse off for as long as he possibly can, and then in the middle of a gig he realises that his hearing is going altogether and it completely drops out. And the way that they represent that in the movie is through immaculate sound design, where it's just all these different muffled sounds, and eventually he just realises that he can't hear anything at all, and obviously it terrifies him, but he still gets through the gig just through muscle memory and everything. And the movie itself is literally just about realizing that you need to accept help sometimes, and it's okay to be vulnerable in that way. And even though you did rely on something like your hearing, it's okay to explore the reality that you're going to need to take better care of yourself. And so a lot of the movie is him interfacing with various members of the deaf community, realizing different ways that he needs to, different methods like sign language and different ways to communicate with people, and obviously being very resilient to that. And it's one of his best performances, if not his best performance I've ever seen Riz Ahmed do. And it's just very frank, it's very honest, it very much connected with me. Obviously there's the whole side of every time you go to a big metal gig and you come out of it with your ears ringing, and for a second you think, maybe what if I lost my hearing? It's kind of just that ran with, but there is a beautiful soul to it. And I just love the way that it all plays out. Like I said, it's immaculately acted and very well shot too. The next one I'm going to mention...
has any of us seen a happy film this year?
Has there been one? I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll get to something more positive. Should also say, if you want to check out the full list of all 10 movies that are in my top 10 for this year, go over to JustWatch and check them all out. Hey! So my second favourite thing from this year is the second film that I've seen from this duo called Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, who did a movie called The Endless, which is a sci-fi sort of horror thriller mystery thing, which I totally recommend as well. Came out a few years ago. But there's a follow-up from them called Synchronic, and it stars Anthony Mackie and I think it's Jamie Dornan, but it's two dudes who are EMTs in New Orleans, and they're like ambulance, they work in ambulances and everything, taking care of different people. And then just kind of semi-randomly, I'd recommend going to this movie not knowing as much about it as
you're about to
I was about to say, but because I just went into it just thinking, well, I love Anthony Mackie and I'm curious what this is. I've just been to New Orleans, so I'm kind of just curious about how that's been filmed and everything. But anyway, they're both ambulance workers and they're taking care of various people on the different night times. And then Anthony Mackie realizes that if he stands in a certain part of his apartment, he actually teleports to a different point in time, but geographically it's the same spot. So he wakes up in, like, let's say, like Alaska or whatever. He wakes up in all these different places, and all of a sudden the movie becomes way more metaphorical, becomes way more life reflective, becomes way more human reflective of just what have we done on this earth over this amount of time. And I love Benson and Moorhead's approach to life. Like my life philosophy very much connects with the way that they represent stuff. And there's a very cheesy or wannabe cheesy scene towards the end where, having done a lot of teleporting through various different points in time, Anthony Mackie just sort of gives his thoughts on where we are at now whilst looking over a city. And I just love the way that speech is given, and it's very easy for it to be cheesy, but at the same time it's very much the way that I think of life right now, and for many times. And I looked at it and that's exactly what I think like represented on screen, and I love it. And so that would be mine. My third one is...
really quickly this one, because I mean you've gone on a bit here.
It's the same amount of time. My third one is something that is way more... didn't expect to love it as much as I did. It's called Love and Monsters. Came out on Netflix, and it's literally The Last of Us meets Zombieland meets Earth Defense Force. It's a very video gamey movie about this one guy who's, post-apocalypse happens, everybody gets separated, he's in one bunker, his girlfriend is over in a different one, and he just wants to get over there and just see how she's getting on. So he gets in touch with her, and
Come over. I can't, it's the apocalypse.
I know.
My parents aren't in the bunker.
He's on the way. So but the thing is, like I said, it's very Last of Us. The way that the dude is dressed is very like Ellie in The Last of Us. And it just has a lot of heart. I think it's very well made. It reminds me a lot of Zombieland, bit of narration over the beginning. And it's just very well put together. The creature designs are great because it's all about radiation making different bugs get super huge. And the journey he goes on is brilliant. And that movie has the best video game. That movie has the best film dog ever filmed. It's just the best boy. Literally, you'll watch that movie.
That's a huge claim. I saw one the other day. How many dogs are in it? 101.
Whoa!
Absolutely insane.
This one is better than all those dogs. But yeah, Love and Monsters was my other one where I just loved every single minute of it. Which, alongside the heavy stuff of Sound of Metal and the middling, uplifting stuff of Synchronic, is 3 recommendations from me to you. But go check out the other ones and look at all the top 10.
Alright, so JustWatch, who are our new best friends, by the way, are the all-in-one streaming service that has, I don't think I'm being dramatic here, drastically changed most of our lives. No more skipping between all the different services trying to find something you want to watch. They are integrated with all your favorites, so you can find anything from one place. Netflix, Amazon, Disney+, Sky, Hayu, and dozens upon dozens more. It's one of those things we can't believe didn't exist sooner, and it's absolutely free. Yes, that's right, it's a free interface available on your mobile, on your tablet, on your PC, on your television, on your Fire Stick, pretty much anywhere. That's available in over 60 countries that will tell you, yes you, if a movie or TV show is available anywhere on any streaming service. And if it is, which of course it probably is, you You just click it, and if you've got the thing, then it's that easy. You're sitting there, I can see you sitting there, waiting for me to give you the catch in all of this, and there's just not one. You can even create an ultimate playlist on there so it knows every single thing you want to watch from every available streaming service. It's amazing! Anyway, we were obviously in La La Land, stream on Prime, rent on Amazon, to work with them, so they asked us to spotlight, currently on Netflix, our favourite movies of 2021. So while we're just talking about a few of our favourites in this video, you can check out the entire top 10s of the year over on JustWatch itself. And friends, let me tell you, you're gonna crazy, stupid, love it. Prime, Amazon, Chili, pretty much everywhere. So sit back, relax, download JustWatch from the link below. Obviously, it's genuinely amazing, and check out our entire top 10s while you're there. But for now, back to the video.
Adam Cleary.
What are you on?
What are your favourite films of 2021?
I'm going to hold my hands up here. There's a lot of technicalities, a lot of shenanigans going on with this. My top 10, I've not watched what I would describe, what mathematicians would regard as a lot of films in 2021. So pretty much, if you go check out my top 10 on JustWatch, that is effectively the 10 films that I watched that I didn't dislike. So
I'll probably back that.
There's probably there's like, if you go from 10, 8, 9, these are films that I saw and left and thought, fine, good. And obviously the top ones are excellent. But I just want to pull out a couple of things. Today, right now, I have just seen Spider-Man No Way Home. That was a wonderful time in the cinema. Do I have some issues with it? Absolutely I do. But it's been so long since I've been able to get to an event movie. Like even Marvel themselves, the masters of the event movie, have just been throwing this stuff on streaming services and going, just sort yourself out. It was so nice to be back in the cinema, watching something that felt like it mattered to people, if I'm not necessarily one of those people. So that was lovely, and a good time was had by all. So I want to give that a shout out, because it just feels like maybe, just maybe, cinema is back, which probably not what you're supposed to say on a collaboration you're doing with a streaming thing, but there's a bit of truth honestly there. So I also just want to take a second before I talk about one film I genuinely really did like. I just want to defend, if you would permit me, Red Notice. Because a lot of people, and you can hear Scott like bringing something up from his lungs in the background.
But I've heard a lot.
You've not watched?
I'm not going to watch that.
It's got eggs in it.
Was it not you? Who was in the office yesterday where they were like, "Oh, Red Notice"? Was that not you?
Probably Joe. I wasn't in yesterday.
It wasn't. No, it was Joe. Joe, fair enough. Right? I was like, you haven't even watched it, right?
I've gone on with
So Red Notice is dreadful.
Well,
It's a terribly put together film. I had a wonderful time watching it. I watched it over 2 nights. Genuinely, I put it on when I was having my tea, and I watched it. It's a million hours long. I put the first half of it on. I was like, hey, there's Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds. There's The Rock playing The Rock. What a great film. What a great concept this is. And I finished my tea, and I went and did something else, and I paused it. And the next time I was like, oh, I'll finish watching Red Notice. And I put it back on. It was in the middle of a crucial fight scene. The pair of them and Gal Gadot fighting each other. Who plays Gal Gadot in this film, by the way? And they were fighting each other, and I replayed it. I started again in the middle of the fight scene, and I genuinely sat there. And you know where Homer Simpson's brain chimes in? My brain just went, I don't know what they're fighting about. I don't know what any of this actually means.
It's all egg stuff.
It's all egg stuff. Somebody, there's 3 eggs. There were 3 eggs. I presume that fight was about one of the eggs. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
But you know what difference it made to my enjoyment of the rest of that film?
What?
Zip. Diddly squat, none whatsoever. They go to Argentina and find this Nazi bunker. And do you know what? Somehow they've made a museum under the rainforest in Argentina through one door and a cliff. It's absolutely incredible.
Looks like that car was still running, eh, as well.
Look, yeah, petrol, by the way, which I googled this, actually goes off and is unusable after about 6 months if it's just left in a tank.
No, if it's right
so
this is a Nazi car.
It's like 6-year-old petrol. It's Nazi petrol, obviously. I really enjoyed that film, and I would just say to anybody who has been criticising it, lighten up.
Yeah.
And alright, so again, I did say this is a film I do genuinely like. It's kind of difficult for me to say that, because the film that I really liked in 2021, admittedly, I have not seen yet.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna say The Matrix Resurrections was one of my favourite films of 2021. Yeah, I know it's not out, but the thing is, there is no level of bad that could be that would disappoint me. Especially in the context of me having to do a top 10 films of the year of just things I didn't immediately hate. There is no way The Matrix Resurrections will be out of my top 10 films of the year, because it's just, they've either gone one or two directions with it, right? It's either genius, brilliant piece of filmmaking, which is what they're desperately trying to convince you it is in the trailers, right? I suspect it's not, but even if it's not, the kind of dumb fun it looks in the meantime looks really fun.
Yeah.
Like, my stance on the Matrix sequels has always been, it's a shame they never made any Matrix sequels, right? And this, to me, looks like all the things that was wrong with those two. Like, the Matrix, the other two took themselves so seriously. They were so bad. I'm sorry, Scott. It was so bad.
You're not sorry at all.
It was so bad.
They
Whereas
weren't
this one looks like everybody involved has just gone, hey, do you know what would be fun? How much money can we get for this, do you think? Is he going to cut his hair? Nah, he doesn't need to. He's just John Wick now, isn't he? So it doesn't matter. So I can confidently say, whatever happens, The Matrix will be in my top 10 films of the year. And if you don't believe me, then after it's come out, go check my top 10 on JustWatch, and you'll see that it is in fact in there. My solemn vow to you.
Right, so I know Cleary was just here saying that he's
That's
picked...
me. Do you have to put... I'm Cleary.
Yeah, sorry. I know you were just here saying you've picked 10 films that you like this year. I've literally just picked the 10 films that I've seen this year because I haven't seen many. Is Palm Springs allowed? It came out here in 2021.
I'll allow it.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second. My first favourite film of 2021, it was, you might have not seen it, it wasn't really publicised that much, it wasn't in many cinemas, it was a sort of little indie joint.
One,
yeah, it was called F9.
Yeah. They had that in my local art house.
Yeah, so I know what you're thinking, they've done everything they can with cars. Have they though? No. You see, what they've done in that film is, well, first of all, you may have seen this in the trailer, they fucking Tarzan a car between two mountains. Where have you seen that before in a film, okay? They send a car into space, because they haven't done that yet. A plane catches a car. You've got Academy Award winner Helen Mirren speed racing with police down the streets of London or somewhere. And super magnets. Super magnets. Don't need to tell you that anymore. And do you know what the best thing about that film is?
What's the best thing about that film, Adam Wilborn?
Do you know why it was such a great film of 2021?
Why was it such a great film of 2021, Adam Wilborn?
My second favourite film of 2021 is Palm Springs, because you've allowed me to have it. Christian Milioti, basically Groundhog Day with Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's the spiritual successor to Groundhog Day. Like I said, Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Christian Milioti, she's just brilliant, and J.K. Simmons in a hat. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really entertaining take on that sort of reliving the same day over and over again, especially with weddings. I'm the sort of age now where it feels like I go to a wedding over and over and over again, and it was just quite an enjoyable, entertaining, and also surprisingly emotional film. So I'm going to pick Palm Springs as one of my favourite films of this year, and I'm going to finish up with No Time to Die, which was a select few films that I actually physically went to the cinema to see. And I know it's sort of divided opinion, this. James Bond, it's, you know, Daniel Craig's farewell to James Bond, and some people liked it, some people didn't. I thought it was great, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't Skyfall, but then it wasn't, I don't know, Die Another Day or whatever. I thought it was, again, surprisingly touching in parts. Loads of bloody explosions in other parts, so that was a lot of fun.
Actually, for James Bond, you did seldom little touching, I thought.
Indeed. And, yeah, I mean, look at that cast. You can't really go wrong with that sort of cast. And I know the one complaint some people said was, oh, it's a bit of a long film. It's very long for a James Bond film. It's nearly like 3 hours. And to that I say, well, it could have been worse. And by the way, before I get to the end of this, if you want to check out my entire list, you can go and check it out at JustWatch. But for those who say that James Bond is too long, or No Time to Die is specifically far too long, nearly 3 hours, it could be worse. You could have spent your time watching a really crap film like Lord of the Rings.
Right,
so,
come on. No,
whoa!
Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here, the perennial egg of WhatCulture.com, and the film that has been rattling around my empty spray can of a head has been Nomadland. This is easily my film of 2020. I couldn't stop thinking about it after I watched it. It tells the story of a woman whose husband dies and then she goes traveling, becomes a nomad basically, going in a van around the country, just looking for work and just living her life, living just around situations that are just not the city, not stressful, and basically just trying to get away from it all. Now, On the surface, it feels like a film that is constantly talking to you about how to escape the rat run, as it were, and live your life as free as you possibly can be. But it's actually a story about grief, about the fact that she has lost her husband and lost her connection to the world that she thought she knew, and the relationships that she builds, as well as maintaining her own life and her van as she travels around the country, become this really interesting sort of dynamic relationship between how much you give to something versus what you get out of it. Do you go building relationships looking to get support, or do you just give because you are a giving person? And I walked away from it just feeling very enriched. I mean, like, we're all working from home at the moment pretty much, and it may keep going on into the near future. So this, for me, was a kind of escapism and also a self-reflection on my own situation, but put on the silver screen. I just cannot recommend it enough, and the acting here is just brilliant. It's not in the sense that there's any sort of really dynamic dialogue, in the sense that I didn't walk away thinking that there were quotes with which to etch in the stone of my life, but more just humble moments where you had real characters talking about real problems and sometimes not being able to talk about those problems. And I just found that very powerful. I thought that was a very brilliant expression of the human element. So yeah, that gets my recommendation of Film of the Year, or at least one that I would really recommend that you watch, Nomadland. Enjoy. And there we go, my friends. That was my film of 2021. And if you want to see all of my top 10, as well as those from Scott, Wilborn, and Amy, you can go over to JustWatch using the link in the description below, and you can feast on all the beautiful films that we've been watching over this year. Hope that you enjoyed that. But before I go, I just want to say one thing to you, my friend. Hope you're treating yourself well with love and respect, because you deserve the best things in life, and do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, all right? You're a massive ledge. Now go out there and smash it. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.